Welcome back to a brand new episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're starting the final trial, the final day. And I think for this episode there's 3 parts to this trial, so it's going to be a long one, but we're going to get through it and it's going to be fun. Trust me. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth. Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt on this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling on the defendant. 5 minutes after the trial starts, Lana will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here. To hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Uggy, been back at the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Huh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. I've got a bad feeling about this. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what is your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? And confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. The underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana!
Objection!
You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I know longer require your services. Alana. Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Sounds like Edgeworth. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage will certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? Huh. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the little naive boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal. Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. Exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Oh, poor Emma, she looks so sad. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark, of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave in fast. He doesn't believe us when we say things are relevant. But when Edgeworth says it, okay, I guess. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Well, it's been a couple of days since I played, so let me just refresh my memory. Wait, hold on. The controls are off. Okay, let me fix the controls and I'll be right back. Alright, and we're back with the right controls configuration. Now let me just go through this file one more time. Okay, so it is a stab wound to the heart and lung. Alright, let's start pressing. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under Chief Detective Gant, my sister. She was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Chief Detective Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk. I dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day, too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she would finish her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Detective Gaiman Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Gant was in there too. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. That's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman, who was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. You told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture? Yes, I think she had mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Who asked about the picture? This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this to the statement? Added this statement to your testimony? Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken. But I draw it. I swear. I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew. That reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. Picture. Do we have something like that? We don't have any picture. We have this picture. I'm not sure. Not entirely sure. That must have been a real shock. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. The lightning struck and the lights went out. Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside, and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie. But Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. This information to myself for now. List of evidence. Ooh, what is this? Oh, that's the picture. Oh! I didn't notice that last time. A picture is drawn on the back of the evidence list in magic marker. I got a very bad feeling about this. Oh, I think this is it. Objection! Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. Do you yet you still insist on denying its existence. Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes. What is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appears to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed to 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here, where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case were ever reached you. What? What? Order! Order! You would have thought the picture would have been drawn on the back of the list. That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor. Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Look at him, man. Obviously something's messed up. Sorry, Your Honor. There is something drawn on the back of my list. This is that thing. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Apparently, the head of criminal affairs used this for his blueprint. I guess he was out of scrap paper. So if we go and see that now... Oh, okay. Now this is one complete picture. You're supposed to maybe look at it sideways. I can't really tell what it is yet. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she saw the picture.